The Shadow Kings, New York City's most notorious crime lords. New York City, a metropolis symbolizing ambition and opportunity, has also been the epicenter for some of the most infamous criminal masterminds in history. These figures not only dominated the city's underworld but also left indelible marks on the very fabric of American organized crime. This video delves into the lives and legacies of the top 10 criminal overlords who ruled the hidden corridors of New York's underworld, weaving a tale of power, intrigue, and ruthless ambition. Number 1. Charles Lucky Luciano, the father of modern organized crime. Charles Lucky Luciano, born Salvatore Lucania in 1897 in Sicily, immigrated to the United States in 1906. Rising from a rough childhood in New York's Lower East Side, Luciano became involved in crime early on. He quickly made a name for himself in the criminal underworld, gaining a reputation for being both ruthless and innovative. In the 1930s, Luciano masterminded a bold move to reorganize the Italian-American mafia. He established the Commission, a governing body that divided New York into 5 mafia families, drastically changing the dynamics of organized crime. This system promoted cooperation and reduced conflicts, solidifying Luciano's status as the founding father of modern organized crime in America. Number 2. Frank Costello, the Prime Minister of the Underworld. Frank Costello, born Francesco Castiglia in 1891 in Italy, rose to become a legendary figure in American organized crime. Migrating to the United States in 1895, he grew up in East Harlem, quickly becoming involved in the criminal activities of the area. Costello ascended to the top of the Luciano crime family, and his influence extended far beyond the Italian-American mafia. Known for his intelligence and political connections, Costello earned the title the Prime Minister of the Underworld. His reign, stretching from the late 1930s to the 1950s, was defined by his strategic alliances with key political and legal figures. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Costello preferred negotiation and bribery over violence, allowing him to maintain a powerful, yet somewhat hidden, presence in the New York City's criminal and political landscapes. His focus on lucrative gambling enterprises further cemented his position as a central figure in the criminal history of New York. Number 3. Carlo Gambino, the Silent Don's quiet domination. Carlo Gambino, born in 1902 in Sicily, rose to become one of the most powerful mob bosses in American history. He immigrated to the United States in 1921 and quickly began his ascent in the world of organized crime. By the mid-1950s, Gambino had taken control of what would become known as the Gambino crime family. His style sharply contrasted with many of his contemporaries. He preferred a low profile and was rarely seen in public, earning him the nickname the Silent Don. Under his leadership, the Gambino family became the most powerful mafia group in the country. He was known for his shrewd business acumen and strategic alliances, expanding the family's operations into numerous illegal ventures while also maintaining relative peace within the mafia ranks. Gambino's reign lasted until his death in 1976, marking a period of significant growth and stability for organized crime in New York. Number 4. John Gotti, the Teflon Don's flamboyant era. John Gotti, born in 1940 in New York City, became one of the most infamous mafia bosses in American history. Taking over as the head of the Gambino crime family in the mid-1980s, Gotti's tenure was characterized by his flamboyant style and charismatic personality. Unlike his predecessor, Carlo Gambino, Gotti loved the limelight and was often seen at high-profile night spots, dressed in expensive suits. His reign was marked by numerous high-profile trials, where he earned the nickname the Teflon Don due to his ability to avoid convictions, primarily through jury tampering and witness intimidation. Gotti's aggressive and public approach to running the crime family led to increased attention from law enforcement. In 1992, he was finally convicted on multiple charges, including murder and racketeering, and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His downfall signified the end of an era for the Gambino family and marked a significant shift in the dynamics of organized crime in New York. Number 5. Myer Lansky, the brain behind the mob's finances. Myer Lansky, born in 1902 in Grodno, Russia, now Belarus, immigrated to the United States in 1911, settling in New York. He began his criminal career in the city's Lower East Side, forming significant partnerships with figures like Lucky Luciano and Bugsy Siegel. Lansky's genius lay in his financial acumen, which led him to become the mafia's primary financial advisor. He was a mastermind behind the formation of the National Crime Syndicate, a network that united Italian-American and Jewish mobsters in a shared structure of organized crime activities across the country. Lansky was pivotal in developing sophisticated money laundering schemes and setting up offshore banking operations to hide and invest the mafia's illicit earnings. He played a significant role in the mob's expansion into lucrative ventures like gambling, both in the US and Cuba. Despite his notoriety and the vast wealth he controlled, Lansky was never convicted of any serious crime. He was a key figure in transforming the mafia into a nationwide criminal empire, with a particular emphasis on financial operations that would become a blueprint for organized crime's economic strategies. Number 6. Albert Anastasia, the mafia's most feared enforcer. Albert Anastasia, born Umberto Anastasio in 1902 in Calabria, Italy, immigrated to the US in 1919 and quickly became involved in New York's criminal underworld. He gained notoriety for his brutal methods and willingness to use violence to achieve his ends, earning him the nickname the Lord High Executioner. Anastasia was a founding member of Murder Incorporated, a group of hitmen that performed contract killings for the mafia. Under his leadership, Murder Incorporated was responsible for an estimated 400 to 1,000 murders. His reign of terror in the mafia's ranks made him one of the most feared and powerful mobsters of his time. Anastasia's involvement in numerous criminal activities, including loan sharking, gambling, and racketeering, further solidified his reputation. His downfall came in 1957 when he was famously assassinated in a barbershop in Manhattan, a hit that marked a significant shift in the power dynamics within the mafia and epitomized the violent and treacherous nature of organized crime in New York. Number 7. Paul Castellano, the Gambino family's white-collar boss. Paul Castellano, born in 1915 in Brooklyn, New York, rose to prominence in the Gambino crime family, eventually succeeding Carlo Gambino as its head in 1976. Unlike his predecessors, Castellano's focus was on white-collar criminal activities such as construction racketeering, illegal gambling, and loan sharking. He expanded the family's involvement in legitimate businesses, but this shift away from traditional mob operations caused dissent among the ranks. Castellano's leadership style and reluctance to involve himself in the day-to-day activities of traditional organized crime alienated some of the family's key members. This tension reached its peak when Castellano was assassinated outside a Manhattan steakhouse in 1985, an event orchestrated by John Gotti. His death marked a significant shift in the Gambino family's dynamics and the New York Mafia's landscape. Castellano's era is often remembered for its emphasis on non-violent, lucrative criminal enterprises, which significantly changed the mafia's operations and perception in the public eye. Number 8. Vincent the Chin Jiganti, the master of deception. Vincent Jiganti, born in 1928 in New York City, rose to become the boss of the powerful Genovese crime family. Known as the Chin, Jiganti was infamous for his eccentric behavior and strategic mind. In an effort to avoid law enforcement detection and prosecution, Jiganti feigned mental illness for decades, wandering the streets of Greenwich Village in his bathrobe and slippers, mumbling incoherently to himself. This act of feigned insanity, which earned him the nickname the Godfather, was so convincing that he successfully evaded serious legal consequences for years. Behind this facade, however, Jiganti was a shrewd and calculating leader, effectively running one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the United States. His reign saw the Genovese family involved in various illegal activities, from racketeering and extortion to murder and loan sharking. Jiganti's ability to maintain this charade for so long is a testament to his cunning and deep understanding of the legal system. He remained a dominant figure in the New York Mafia until his conviction in the late 1990s, ultimately revealing the extent of his deception and the true power he wielded within the Mafia. Number 9. Joseph Joe Masino, the turning point of New York's Mafia. Joseph Masino, leading the Bonanno crime family, was known as the last dawn of New York's mafia era. His leadership was characterized by a return to the old rules of secrecy and loyalty. However, his reign faced upheaval when, after his 2004 conviction for multiple murders and racketeering, Masino became the first boss of one of the 5 families to become a government informant. His testimony against former associates marked a significant departure from the mafia's code of silence, omerta, and signified a major shift in the dynamics of organized crime in New York. Number 10. Philip Little Farvel Cohen, the forefather of New York's gambling scene. Philip Cohen, active in the late 1800s and early 1900s, played a pivotal role in shaping New York City's underworld. Known as Little Farvel, Cohen was a pioneering figure in the gambling scene, establishing a network of gambling operations that became the forerunner for later organized crime activities in the city. His ventures not only laid the foundation for future gambling rackets but also set the stage for the emergence of organized crime syndicates that would dominate New York's criminal landscape in the 20th century. Cohen's legacy is often overshadowed by more infamous figures, yet his impact on the city's illicit gambling industry remains significant.